another source, and it took some time. Usually it doesn't happen. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Thank you, devotees, for your wonderful association and for giving me this chance to glorify Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of our wonderful ISKCON movement, and the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. He is the original founder of these two important trusts. So we continue to honor him through this discussion on the Prabhupada Lilamrt, which has been kindly given to us by His Holiness SatsvarupaGoswami Maharaj. Last time we were talking about how Srila Prabhupada would take oil massage in the veranda, and he would take a morning walk, then breakfast of fruits and nuts, and 11 o'clock massage, and thereafter he would have a glass of fresh coconut water or sugarcane juice, and in the evening he would meet guests, and around 10 p.m. he would take rest. Again he will wake up at 1 a.m. and he would sit in front of his desk and start the translation work. So this kind of thing was going on, and so there was a suggestion that Prabhupada should take some rest and go to some lonely place and allow his body to recuperate while focusing on translation work. But then suddenly there was a call from Paris, Bhagavan Prabhu, inviting Srila Prabhupada to come there for some preaching engagements. Immediately Prabhupada changed his mind. So his devotee was saying, only today morning, Prabhupada, he wanted to go away and be alone. So Prabhupada laughed and said, not in this lifetime. Better that I keep traveling and preaching and die on the battlefield. For a warrior, it is glorious to die on the battlefield, like that Prabhupada said. So, traveling around the world once or twice a year was Srila Prabhupada's routine. So, at one time, Srila Prabhupada was sitting with his foreigner disciples, And then Prabhupada was saying this, that you people are young and you should travel and preach. When you are old and matured in Krishna consciousness, you can go to Mayapur or Vrindavan and retire and chant Hare Krishna. That's all. Then Prabhupada added, of course, for myself, I am not so mature. So even at this old age, I am preaching. So Prabhupada originally said, when you are old and mature in Krishna consciousness, you can go and chant in the Holy Dham. Then Prabhupada said, but I am not enough, mature enough. That means I will continue to preach. That means, again, preaching helps you to mature in Krishna consciousness. It is not the other way around. If we think, when I become mature in Krishna consciousness, I will preach, then perhaps you will never mature. Yeah? It's a very powerful message from Srila Prabhupada. That we are not preaching to make others Krishna conscious. We are preaching to make ourselves Krishna conscious. Krishna will decide whom to make Krishna conscious at what time. But as a devotee, as an aspiring devotee who wants to progress, it is important for us to sincerely take up preaching activity in all humility and think that I am not preaching for purifying others. That is incidental. That is Krishna's will. But I am preaching for my own purification. So Prabhupada said, I am not yet mature, so I continue to preach. And whenever I become mature, I will retire. Okay. So devotees became silent for a moment. Then one of them asked Srila Prabhupada, if you say that you are not mature, then how can we ever think that we are old or mature enough to retire? Srila Prabhupada smiled and said, you will have to decide for yourselves. But I am not mature enough, Prabhupada said. Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, who is one of the most powerful preachers of Srila Prabhupada, he said, then we also will never become so mature that we can retire. Devotees, would you like to comment on this particular exchange between Srila Prabhupada and his disciples? Would you like to say something?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. That shows the relationship between the Guru and disciple, Prabhuji. Their personal relationship. And Prabhupada is telling out of humility. And Tamal Krishna Prabhu, who is a wonderful devotee, he is also speaking in a humble manner, Prabhuji.
Yeah, that is fine. But what is the message for us?
Preach till the last moment, Prabhuji.
Exactly. Preaching is our lifeline. It is very easy to think, oh, the world is lacking Krishna consciousness. We should all go out and preach and all these things. Very good. But it is not the only issue. The issue is we think we have come to Krishna consciousness, but we will mature in Krishna consciousness only by preaching. It requires you receive from one side and you give from to the other side. When you are preaching, if you are only preaching, that's also not good. You should be also hearing from a higher authority. Either you hear Srila Prabhupada's lectures, or you hear your Guru Maharaj, your Siksha Guru, your Diksha Guru's lectures, and other senior Vaishnavas' lectures, or read the books. So one side, you must be receiving knowledge, but other side, you should be constantly giving. You cannot go on receiving but not give. Thinking, let me go on receiving, go on receiving, go on receiving, like a greedy man, myself. You cannot go on collecting knowledge. You must share it. That way you mature. That is a very important point Srila Prabhupada is making. Apart from the humility aspect of all this, but it's an important message why we have to preach. This Gaudiya Vaishnava mission, this is a preaching mission, and by preaching you grow. So when you preach, there is no need to become proud. Oh, I have become a preacher. No, you have become a preacher because you are not mature enough to retire and chant Hare Krishna in a dham. Because we are not mature, we are preaching. So that not that somebody is preaching so they have become mature in Krishna consciousness. Or an immature person thinks one day I will become mature and then I will start preaching. That day will never come. So it's a very important message that we receive here, that preaching is our lifeline. Whatever we know, we have to preach. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, they have this. Amara Agyaya Guru Haya Tharaye Desh Yara Dekho Tare Kaho Krishna Upadesh. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered, Amara Agya means it is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's order to all of us. Guru Haya, you become a guru. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's order, that all of us should become guru. And Thare E Desh, save this planet. Save this planet by becoming guru. Then your question comes, what should I do as a guru? I don't know anything. Yeah, then what is the point of becoming a guru? Then very next line, Mahaprabhu says, Yara dekho, tare kaho, Krishna upadesh. Tare ye desh, save this planet. How? Yara dekho, tare kaho, Krishna upadesh. Anyone you meet, you tell them Krishna upadesh. It's not your upadesh. You don't have to give any upadesh. You have to simply repeat what Krishna tells. So Krishna Upadesh means either it is Bhagavad Gita, which is spoken by Krishna, or Srimad Bhagavatam, which talks about Krishna. Both are Krishna Upadesh only. Upadesh about Krishna and Upadesh spoken by Krishna. Both are Krishna Upadesh only. So this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. You should become a guru. And by becoming guru, you have to simply repeat. And Prabhupada would always say that I am only a postman. And I am doing a postman job of delivering the money order sent by your father, Krishna, to you. I am just delivering to you. That was the humble spirit of Srila Prabhupada. Or he would say, all my disciples, they are all the representatives of my Guru Maharaja. And they have come to help me. Not that I am here to help them. They are helping me to my own purification. And they are helping me to implement the order of my Guru Maharaj. That was his mood. Okay. So now we are on 18th of April, 1974. Prabhupada is going to disappear in, anyone remembers? When is the Prabhupada's disappearance?
November 14, 1977.
So how many years left?
For 3 years,
3
Prabhuji.
years.
A little about 3.5 years is what is left. And Prabhupada is going to disappear. So close to his demise. Prabhupada is 78 years old now. And Prabhupada is talking about not retiring. And Prabhupada is talking about dying on the battlefield. And Prabhupada is saying, I am not mature enough. Regarding yourself, you ask yourself and find out if you are mature or not. As far as I am concerned, I am not mature. Prabhupada said. Okay. So now we are in Hyderabad and there's a 3-day Pandal program. After this, Prabhupada is going to Europe preaching, right? And within that gap, people called from South India and Prabhupada has come to Hyderabad. In Hyderabad, there was a press conference. Please listen carefully. Every little thing has a lesson for us. And please try to pray to Krishna to reveal the lesson for you so that you can understand that and implement that in your lives. Every little thing we are going to see is a lesson for us, either for implementation in our own life or to more intelligently do our preaching work. Preaching cannot be, one size fits all kind of thing. Whoever you meet, you have to understand that person, and accordingly the preaching has to be tailored to that person. Customized preaching is required. We should develop these skills. So here you see, Prabhupada comes to Hyderabad and there is a press conference and a reporter is asking a technical, philosophical question. Let us see how Prabhupada is handling it. A reporter is asking, Prabhupada, is your philosophy Advaita or Dvaita? So here Satsvarupa Maharaj writes, see the situation of South India. People are so philosophically inclined that even an ordinary press reporter is asking a highly technical, philosophical question, that he understands Advaita, Dvaita, and such philosophies, and he's asking Prabhupada. And he also adds, in South India, there is always this debate of between Vaishnavites and Shaivites, between Dvaita and Advaita. So, and Prabhupada simply poof the question. Prabhupada said, this is not an important question at all. And Prabhupada says, what is the point of discussing such things? He challenged, whether one is Dvaita or Advaita, is it an important question? Prabhupada is asking the reporter back. Instead of discussing Achintya Beda or Visishta Advaita and all, Prabhupada is not entering at all into the debate. But Prabhupada is saying, where is the need for this question? How it will help you? Then Prabhupada changes the track. Prabhupada says, Krishna says, Annad Bhavanti Bhutani Parjanyat Anna Sambhava. You will remember in Bhagavad Gita, third chapter, in Karma Yoga, right? Krishna says, we living entities live by eating grains, and grains are produced from rain, and the rain comes from sacrifice. So Prabhupada says, everybody needs grains to eat, so you have to perform sacrifice. Whether you are talking about Advaita or Dvaita, will it feed you? By talking Dvaita and Advaita, will you get food? People need food above all. So Bhagavad Gita says, sacrifice will produce rains. And what is that sacrifice for Kali Yuga? Nama Sankirtan, Yajna. Nama Sankirtan Yajna. So Prabhupada says, Prabhupada simply changed the subject, that why you talk philosophy, let us talk practical things. And practically, you need rains for grains. And rains will come only from Harinam Sankirtan. And Prabhupada said, you have to have the Varnashrama system. You have to divide the population into 4 orders, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. Prabhupada says, you need the division in the society. You cannot say everybody is equal. You will never make people equal in that way. And you will only have problems. Most people will have problems, and they will have starvation, famine, everything will come if you want to make everybody equal. So you need to have 4 orders, and people should be engaged accordingly. Whether you are a Dvaita or Advaita, you will need grains. Prabhupada said like that. Okay. Then Prabhupada wrote to Bhagavan Prabhu in Paris that in Hyderabad, this Pandal program is working very nicely. 1,000 people attended the overnight program, and they sat silently throughout the whole lecture. After the lecture was over, they all rushed to take blessings of Srila Prabhupada. And prasadam was distributed to everybody. Prabhupada saying, yes, Bhagavan, in Paris also, you try to do the same thing. I will come and speak in those programs. Then, April 25, now Srila Prabhupada is leaving Hyderabad and goes to Tirupati. And how? By air. I never knew in 1974, there was an air connection between Hyderabad and Tirupati. So Prabhupada flew to Tirupati. And here Satsvarupa Maharaj writes something about the temple. There, in the mountainous Tirumala hills, stands the richest temple in India, where a deity of Vishnu known as Balaji resides. The temple management welcomed Srila Prabhupada and his devotees very respectfully. And then they provided them cottages on the hillside, And as per the temple policy, people have to wait in long queues, running into several hours or sometimes even more than a day. Because 15,000 people enter the temple daily, and they get only a brief darshan. We all know this. We are talking about 1974. Non-Hindus are usually not allowed, but they made exception from all these things for Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada and his disciples received the special honor of a private darshan with Balaji. Right? So I don't know how many of you have visited Tirumala. I have gone several times. So when you go to the inner sanctum sanctorum, Garbhagriha, you walk for a long distance. From a great distance, you can see the deity. and you go closer, 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 closer. And at some point of time, you are cut off, and then you have to go out. Sometimes you can go up to the Jaya Vijaya gate. Sometimes you cannot even go up to that point. Even before that, you will be stopped and you will be turned away. But Srila Prabhupada was allowed right inside the sanctum sanctorum, along with his devotees, and other public darshan was closed. Exclusively, Srila Prabhupada had the audience with Balaji. And so Satsvarupa Maharaj describes, in the temple inner sanctum, there is no electric light or any other source except torch. Torch means fire torch, right? The fire torches shed light inside the sanctum. Maybe they are ghee lamps, and the arti plate, when they do arti. That is the only light in which you can see the deity. And when people enter into the hallway, they are mostly saying Govinda, Govinda, Govinda. And Srila Prabhupada, while entering the sanctum, he sang Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Prabhupada is repeating that as he entered the sanctum. Later on, Prabhupada returned to his room in the cottage, and Prabhupada says, millions of people are still going to see Balaji. That proves that people are still attracted to God. Even though our whole education system is atheistic system. We are trying to teach people Darwin's theory, and we are trying to teach people the goal of life is to earn a lot of money, enjoy sense gratification, and one day die. And that is the end of everything. This is what we are teaching. How can you expect children to become godly? How can you expect to have citizens who are God-fearing or God-loving? Not possible. Prabhupada says, despite the government being anti-God, and despite our education system being anti-God, but still, see, the masses are attracted to God, despite government's negative propaganda. So, Prabhupada adds, even though many of these people may be coming to Krishna out of distress or seeking some facilities, still they are calling out the holy names, Govinda, Govinda, and that will have effect. They will become devotees. One devotee asked Prabhupada, why the deity is called Balaji? Why the deity is called Balaji? And Prabhupada said, Bala means child. So here, Krishna is in the form of a child. That's why he's called Balaji. So Prabhupada says, he is a cowherd boy here. Krishna is a cowherd boy. And he's not in the Vaikuntha aspect. See, amazing, right? If you think Tirumala, the Lord is in Aishwarya Bhav because there is so much opulence. Wherever you turn, it is opulence, opulence, opulence you see. And it is a Sri Vaishnava temple also. But Prabhupada says here the Lord is in cowherd boy aspect, not in the Aishwarya Bhav, more in the Madhurya Bhav, Vatsalya Madhurya Bhav. And Prabhupada was very happy about the arrangements, about the cottage, about the facilities. Prabhupada said, we should also do this in New Vrindavan. We should have cottages like this. We should create facilities for visitors like this. And we should also give them prasadam. Because Prabhupada got prasadam from the temple and Prabhupada was honoring the prasadam in his cottage. Prabhupada said, we should also do these things. Then one official from Tirumala temple came to visit Prabhupada. And he mentioned that our collection per month is 40 lakh rupees. 50 years ago. 50 years ago, the collection was 40 lakh rupees per month. That means almost 5 crores per annum in 1974. Prabhupada inquired, how do you spend this money? Very important. And the priest indicated that most of the money goes in maintenance. Temple maintenance, buildings maintenance, and maintenance of staff and other things. Prabhupada said that is good, temple renovation is required, but propagating the message of Krishna all over the world would be even better. Indirectly, Prabhupada is indicating, actually, you should give the money to me. You are spending the money on simply maintaining the temple. But this money should be spent on propagating the message of Krishna throughout the world. And Prabhupada said, Balaji is Krishna. Do you find the logic of what Prabhupada is speaking? See, just listen. Prabhupada says, Balaji, your God, is actually Krishna. And Krishna's message should be spread, which is Bhagavad Gita. He descended as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to teach us Bhagavad Gita. So who can deny this? That instead of maintaining one temple, spending all the money on just maintenance, this money should be spent to spread Krishna consciousness throughout the world. Then Prabhupada told the priest further that in the West, so many old churches in London are closed, not being used. Churches are there, very old, big churches. They are closed. When I was in London, this was about 25 years ago, there used to be almost 40 years ago. There used to be a temple. From outside, it is like a church only. And you go inside the temple, it's a temple. Because you are not allowed to change the outside. No, that's some kind of a heritage, something. So outside it looks like, but inside, a typical South Indian Muruga temple was there inside. Like that, churches, this is one good use for a church, but there are some other churches that have become bar. Some have become discotheque and cabaret clubs. Like that, churches are being rented out and to earn some money, either sold or rented out. Prabhupada said, if there is no preaching, this will happen. How the spirit of a temple will be maintained if there is no preaching? Prabhupada asked. Then the priest said another thing. He said, we are building a Panchopasana temple. Pancha Upasana means worship of 5 different deities. Usually it is Surya, Shiva, Vishnu, Durga and Ganesh. Typically these 5 deities. So they said, we are funding to build one more temple for Panchopasana. This is Balaji temple. They are also building a Panchopasana temple, which is the philosophy of Shankaracharya, impersonal philosophy. Prabhupada was shocked and surprised. Prabhupada said, you are followers of Ramanuja. Ramanuja is your leader. He never recommended Panchopasana. We were introducing all these, unapproved things. So this happens because the leaders are blind. The politicians, the religious leaders, they all are simply blind. They are after publicity and some name and fame. That's all. So Prabhupada is saying, why you are doing it? Anyway, for 2 days, Prabhupada stayed in Tirupati. And in these 2 days, 3-4 times he went to take darshan of Balaji. And whenever he went, the pujaris would clear the inner sanctum and there will be only Prabhupada and his disciples and no darshan for others. Exclusively Prabhupada would take darshan of Balaji. As long as Prabhupada liked, in the light of the burning torches, right? The mystical, the jeweled form of Balaji, he was having darshan. Okay, next is now Bombay. So Prabhupada is in Bombay. This is April 29. Only a few days before Prabhupada goes to Rome. Right? Prabhupada will go to Rome. But there is a problem. What is the problem? Listen carefully. The management of Indian projects, there is a problem. Till now, Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj had been put in charge of managing all these temples of Vrindavan, Mayapur, Bombay, Hyderabad, etc. But now Tamal Krishna Maharaj is requesting Prabhupada, please allow me to go to America and preach. Because my god brother Vishnujana Swami, he has discovered a new novel way of preaching. What is that? Take buses, a fleet of buses, and in each bus it will be filled with books. There will be deities and there will be a few devotees. They will live on the bus, constantly go on traveling, go to schools, colleges, universities, public places, give classes, distribute books, take standing orders for Prabhupada's books. Like that, they were doing amazing work. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, I have been here for sufficiently long. I want to go to the West and preach. And Prabhupada said, yeah, that is good for you and also for the preaching in America. It is good for America, good for Tamal Krishna, but it's not good for India. Because I have great plans for India and I need a good manager. But then Prabhupada reluctantly allowed him to go. But now, who will take care of India? So once again, the only manager for ISKCON India turns out to be Srila Prabhupada. All the Westerners, he brought hundreds of them into India. but they are not able to manage the Indian projects. Only Prabhupada is required. So Prabhupada is traveling, the whole world also is going and teaching, training people, establishing temples and all. But simultaneously, entirely he has to look after India. Others can follow his instructions, but Prabhupada is required to lead from front. So, okay. Then there is a report. One report has come from Mayapur income expenditure account, and Prabhupada is verified. See, Prabhupada is very concerned that all the money should be handled very carefully and spent exactly for the purpose approved by Prabhupada. That means every time a check is written, Prabhupada will say, this is for this purpose and it should be used for that purpose only. And typically, when Prabhupada sends money, it is for capital items like building a building or acquiring land or furnishing or renovation. Like that, Prabhupada will be sending. So Prabhupada writes a letter to His Holiness Jayapada Goswami Maharaj. So we all know what Mayapur is today is entirely thanks to His Holiness Jayapada Goswami Maharaj. And of course, there were a few people like Bhavananda Maharaj and there were a few others. And also Ambarish Ford. They have been focusing on TOVP and other things. But the whole project of Mayapur city, the spiritual city, entirely it has been managed by His Holiness Jayapada Goswami Maharaj. And also managing other Vaishnava holy places in the Navadvip area, in the larger Bengal area, everything is being taken up by His Holiness Jayapada Goswami Maharaj. And the reason, despite all his setbacks in his physical health, he is still living. He always says, I received so many instructions from Prabhupada. I have implemented some, but there are many more to be done. And I am alive to see that through. And one of them is TOVP. Another one is that acquiring the birthplaces of various acharyas and developing them into nice centers for pilgrimage. There'll be a temple, there'll be a place to stay, guest houses, and there'll be kirtan areas like that. Each place they are developing. Already we have acquired Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's birthplace. ISKCON has acquired. And the project is still on. The cost is about 1 crore, 8 lakhs, like that. So like this, so many projects are going on. If you go for Navadvip Mandal Parikrama, then in every dweep, devotees want to stay overnight. For that, you have to acquire land, you have to build the guest houses, you have to create kitchen facilities, so many things. So there are always a need for money. So here, Prabhupada is writing to His Holiness Jayapada Maharaj, when I send money for purchase of land, that money should be spent only for purchase of land. If I send money for constructing a kitchen, then it should be spent only for that. Also, whenever you purchase land, it must be properly utilized. So if you can use the land to produce some fruits and grains and vegetables, then there is no need to spend money for maintenance. Maintenance will come from your land only. So at best, one person, 100 rupees may be required for maintenance. And there are 20 people with you. So 2,000 per month is the maintenance cost. So everything else, money should be spent on projects. So Prabhupada says like that. I am not very competent, Prabhupada says, to understand everything concerning your plans, but this is my rough estimate. And Prabhupada said, you have sent me a long letter. Jayapada Maharaj has written a long letter to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada says, you have tried to explain this by a long letter. I have not yet gone through it fully. In the meantime, follow this principle, what I have told you. When money is given for a particular purpose, it should be spent for that purpose only. If you need money for other purposes, that means you have to earn them by some other means. Okay. And in the meantime, earlier Prabhupada had sent a letter to His Holiness Jayapada Maharaj and Bhavananda Maharaj. And seeing that letter, both of them had become slightly despondent. They were anxious that our Guru is not happy with what we have done. They were anxious whether we have gone against the will of our Guru. So Prabhupada understood this. So Prabhupada gave a reassuring message. Prabhupada says, I know you are working hard and sincerely. I know. I have no business to criticize. This is very important. Please listen carefully, devotees. What should be the relationship between spiritual master and a disciple? Please listen carefully. This is one paragraph in Prabhupada's letter. I have no business to criticize, but as head of the institution or your spiritual master, it is my duty to find out your faults. The duty of spiritual master, also head of the institution, is to find faults. That's his duty. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu presented himself as faulty before his spiritual master. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Supreme Lord. But in front of his spiritual master, he posed himself as a fool. So Prabhupada is recommending this is the correct approach. In front of your spiritual master, you should not think that you are qualified, that you know something. To remain faulty before the spiritual master is a good qualification. That means to feel I have defects and I want my guru to correct me. That should be the mood of a disciple in front of the guru, Prabhupada says. That's a good qualification so that he can be rectified. But if one thinks he's all perfect, then there is no scope for rectification. Don't be sorry when I find fault with you. That is my primary duty. Chanakya Pandita says, one must find fault with disciples and sons. As a parent, one should find fault with sons, and as a disciple, a guru, he should find fault with disciples. It is good for them. Then next, Prabhupada was scrutinizing the accounts of Vrindavan. See how busy Prabhupada is. Mayapur he has scrutinized. Now Vrindavan he is scrutinizing. And the report has come from Gurudas Prabhu and Tejas, president of Delhi. And Prabhupada wrote there, he wrote a letter to Vrindavan saying, I have signed all your checks except one. That is a check for 3,000 rupees. That is meant for deity clothes. You have written that this check is meant for deity clothes and the money is to be paid to a tailor, Lalit Prasad in Vrindavan. So Prabhupada said, but deity paraphernalia is supposed to be collected by Gurudas and Yamuna. That is not part of the temple project. When I sanction money for temple project, that is not meant to be used for clothing, deity clothing. That is separately, the business is given to Gurudas and Yamuna Mataji. So this money should not be used for that. So Prabhupada refused to sign that check. It is meant for deity dress. Then Prabhupada added, also, I have told Gurudas not to pay to any tailor for deity clothing because devotees themselves should make the dress for the deities. So devotees should learn everything, cooking, tailoring, temple maintenance, administrative skills, everything they have to know. And Prabhupada also found some discrepancies in the balance shown in the accounts. And Prabhupada asked him, I want a clear reconciliation statement to come from you. And then Prabhupada dictated one invitation letter for inauguration of Krishna Balram temple for Janmashtami 1974. July 1974, Janmashtami. So Prabhupada prepared an invitation to VIPs with their names in it. So Prabhupada dictated that. That invitation would be signed by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, founder Acharya, Gurudas Adhikari, local president of Vrindavan, and Surabhidas Adhikari, secretary. So only 3 months are left, and in the meantime, Prabhupada is going to Europe. Okay? And Prabhupada said, whatever money is needed from Delhi, that money can be given to Vrindavan as a loan, like that. And Prabhupada would return after 3 months for the inauguration. Right? Now, Prabhupada's one more world tour starts. We already saw, no? Every year, 2-3 times Prabhupada would go on world tour. So this is one more world tour. First 2 places Prabhupada will be stopping, Rome and Geneva. So in both the places, devotees had arranged many outside speaking engagements for Prabhupada. And also private meetings with VIP guests. So public meetings for large audience and private meetings with VIPs. This is how it was arranged. And the Rome temple itself was in a small house. but the small house was located in a busy cross junction road crossing. There, so it was a simple house, but location was very excellent. And the temple president's name was Dhananjaya. He came to Prabhupada and he apologized. Prabhupada, there is so much traffic noise. 24 hours there is traffic passing on the street. And the noise was penetrating into Prabhupada's quarters also. So much so that, even translation and all becomes difficult. There is honking, there is vehicle speeding noise. When he told that, I hope the noise is not disturbing you too much. Prabhupada said, no, this sound is very pleasing. Prabhupada's response, this sound is very pleasing. It means this is a very important part of Rome. This is a very good location for us. If there is no traffic, that means you are in a poor location. So much noise actually makes me happy. That means a devotee thinks for Krishna's pleasure, not for his own pleasure. So when preaching is happening, the devotee is happy. He's not thinking about his own personal comforts. And there was a hotel in Rome, and Prabhupada addressed a meeting. In that hotel, there was a hall that can accommodate 500 people. And when Prabhupada went for the meeting, there were more than 1,000 people. The hall was not just full, it was overflowing to double the capacity. And Prabhupada spoke to that audience. And Prabhupada was very happy with the enthusiastic gathering of Italians who behaved as if they were coming to receive the blessings of the Pope. They were pious people, but they had not been taught properly how to engage in the Lord's service. Prabhupada said, this was the only defect. Although devotees had arranged a meeting between Prabhupada and the Pope, they had arranged a meeting, but somehow it did not take place because the Pope was sick. And Pope arranged for another second-level officer to meet Srila Prabhupada. Now, would anybody like to comment on this? That Prabhupada is in Italy. And what is special about Italy? Rome?
Vatican.
Exactly. It is the headquarters of the Roman Catholic Church. This is the origin of the Christianity. Of course, Jesus Christ was born in Bethlehem and all those things. That's a rural area, and Jesus was put on the cross at the age of 32 or 34, and he disappeared. That is one story. That happened 2,000 years ago, right? But the Pope, that happened in the 4th or 5th century, almost 500 years later. The Roman Empire adopted Christianity as its religion. Jesus gone. Now there is a Christianity. They created a Bible also. The King James in London, he produced a King James version of Bible, which is now the whole world is using that. So there is a Bible, and the headquarters is the Pope in the Vatican City. The Vatican City is supposed to be the empire, the capital of Christians. So the Pope himself is a king, actually. Yeah. So they created this concept of, he's the king both for spirituality and for other material purposes. So Prabhupada is going right into the headquarters of Christianity. It is Christianity which is going around the world trying to propagate, by different methods, some acceptable methods, some dubious methods, some highly questionable methods. But anyway, it is one religion which is a preaching religion, spreading from Rome throughout the world. And Srila Prabhupada, India has been at the receiving end of all their missionary work. But here, one gentleman is going all the way to Rome and preaching. And what is happening? Thousands of Christian citizens of Italy, they are coming to hear him out. So Prabhupada said, these are all pious people, but there has been no proper teaching about how to love God. So very, very interesting, right? So then from Rome, Prabhupada flew to Geneva. And Prabhupada and his secretaries were flying over the Alps, and they eventually landed in Geneva. And there, the mayor of the city came to give a welcome, official welcome to Srila Prabhupada. There was a nice meeting, went smoothly, According to diplomatic protocol, very nicely they received him. And afterward, the mayor asked frankly one question to Prabhupada. Listen, if everyone became like you are saying, will it not threaten the economy? If everyone follows your recommendations, will the economy not be ruined? This is the question of the mayor. And what Prabhupada said? No. And then Prabhupada told exactly what he told the press reporter in Hyderabad. He quoted the same shloka. Annad bhavanti bhutani. People live by eating grains. And if you want grains, you have to do sacrifice to the Lord. That will bring rain. So Prabhupada said, the entire civilization depends on food grain and sufficient rain, and that will come from God consciousness. And then Prabhupada further added that if men have a little piece of land and a few cows, they can cultivate the land and they can get the milk products from the cow and they can live happily and prosperously. So economy, what is the purpose of economy? The population should live happily, comfortably, peacefully. That I can do. Not by your huge industrial empire and slaughterhouses, but in a very nice way, I can ensure peace, prosperity, happiness for your whole population. So what is the purpose of economy? If purpose of economy is not the welfare of the people, happiness of the people, then who needs such an economy? The purpose of economy or politics or sociology or psychology or science, whatever it is, the branch of knowledge, if it is not meant for the peaceful happiness, happy existence of the people, then we don't need this kind of knowledge. So Prabhupada is telling, I am actually giving you a high quality knowledge by which people can live happily. By implementing God conscious principles, we can organize the society nicely and keep everyone happy. So Prabhupada said, Krishna conscious devotees can work in all ways of life within the society. The Krishna conscious. But mainly their business is to give knowledge and help the society to recover a proper, virtuous, ethical living standards. So Prabhupada was coming back to the temple and he was asking the disciples, did I answer the questions all correctly? Then one of the devotees said, Srila Prabhupada, actually, this mayor thinks we are all beggars. Devotees are all beggars. Prabhupada said, therefore, I told him about tilling the land. We are not beggars. We are giving the highest knowledge. Which beggar will give highest knowledge? Which beggar will give knowledge first place? So Prabhupada said, we are giving the highest knowledge. Then Prabhupada added, I gave him a copy of Bhagavad Gita. Contains the highest knowledge. He could not give us anything. So who is the beggar? I have given something valuable to him and he could not give me anything valuable in return. So who is the beggar? So this is the vision of an Acharya. We should not get carried away that, we are maintaining our temples from donations only. We are having festivals. We are doing whatever we are only on the basis of donations. So in that sense, we are beggars only. This comes from incomplete understanding of philosophy and the background of Krishna consciousness. If we really knew what is Krishna consciousness, we will understand the whole world belongs to Krishna. The creator owns the creation, correct? The whole creation belongs to the creator. So whatever I claim as my property is actually not my property. It is Krishna's property. Including me, everything is Krishna's property. But unfortunately, people claim that they are the owners and they are the masters and they are the enjoyers, they are the proprietors. So the devotees go to them humbly to help them come out of this false ego. So even though we go to these people for raising funds, we should never have the mood of a beggar. That means we have not understood the philosophy. Everything belongs to Krishna. And when we go, we are trying to benefit them. Like Parikshit Maharaj glorifies Sukadeva Goswami. If anyone remembers, comes in the first canto, right? Sukadeva Goswami is glorified by Parikshit Maharaj. First canto only. Anyone remember?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, little bit what I remember,
Ah.
like he is giving association, with his association that we are all benefited, like that something is
Yes.
mentioning.
He tells Sukadeva Goswami, you don't stay, you go to the houses of householders and you don't stay longer than the time it takes to milk a cow. This is the nature of these Parivrajakacharyas. These people who have the highest knowledge, they visit a house not more than one muhurta, the time required for milking a cow. And by staying there, you are giving knowledge, spiritual knowledge for the benefit of the householder. So they cannot be considered as beggars. They are going actually for the welfare of this. That's how Parikshit Maharaj honors the Sukadeva Goswami. This is the appreciation for all Parivrajakacharyas, sannyasis. They go to a house not as beggars, even though people who lack knowledge, they will have this wrong understanding. Actually, if they don't visit those houses, the householder will die uselessly. They will not gain spiritual knowledge. His whole birth will become a waste. He will die to become a dog. But these saintly persons, by visiting their houses, of course, the saintly persons are in very humble clothing, their needs are very little, and they are honored by the householder by offering them prasadam, by washing their lotus feet, and giving them place to sit, and all these things. But this doesn't make them beggars. So this is what very important thing for us to remember. Actually, recently there was some discussion here in Chennai about there is a concept of Uncha Vriddhi. Has anyone heard? Can anyone explain this concept of Uncha Vriddhi? Anyone of you heard of it?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, pranams.
No.
That is a kind of madhukari. They take their begging bowl and they go for asking alms, and whatever donation the brahmanas give to the brahmanas, they take and they use that either for the temple, annadan, or for themselves to survive. Hare Krishna.
So basically, how it works is a devotee will carry a small pot in his hand and he will go on the street singing bhajans, glorifying the Lord. And people will come out of their houses, they will wash the feet by throwing water on the feet, and they will circumambulate this devotee, and they will bring one glass of rice and they will offer it into the pot or the bag of this devotee who is doing bhajans. So you see, the whole uh, street that he passes through becomes sanctified. And those people, by offering grains to this personality, they get pious credits. And they've been able to hear the holy names of the Lord. So this way, he doesn't stop at any house and say, Bhavati Bhikshante. He doesn't beg. He just keeps moving. As Mataji said, Madhukari, whoever is willing, they will give and he will accept. High quality rice, low quality rice, everything will go into the same bag. He doesn't make any discrimination. Whatever they give, he will take. And in the process, he is giving the holy name to everyone. So this is called Uncha Vriddhi. Now, there is a atheist party here in Tamil Nadu. So they are telling, what is the difference between a beggar and these people? A beggar is also going in the streets for begging, and these brahmanas are also going to begging. You call it Uncha Vriddhi, whereas you call the other people as beggars. But that's very clearly, this is inability to discriminate, So when a saintly person goes, he is giving spiritual knowledge and spiritual purification to people, right? And even by giving alms to these people, the householders get benefited. Whereas with a beggar, that's not the situation, right? The beggar is in need, but here they are actually giving. By giving them a chance to serve, they are actually giving. But what an atheist will understand? So very unfortunate developments are taking place. High Court judge says no kirtan should be held in residential localities without permission from the collector of the district. What nonsense. What can be a bigger nonsense than this? that you have to go and get permission. You want to have a bhajan program in your house, you have to go to the collector and take permission. So he's practically sealed everything. And he also says that silence is the best prayer. So as though he is the appointed authority in spiritual matters. A judge has studied in some college, law college, and he has studied some civil law, criminal law. Have they taught him spiritual law? Did he learn Bhagavad Gita in his school and college? What gives him the courage to say, I can arbitrate on spiritual matters also? Even without an investigation, even without an effort to understand. Actually, if you see, in Tamil Nadu, there are thousands of temples. We don't have to keep kirtan programs in houses at all. We can have kirtans in the temples. But all the temples are taken over by the government. The Christian places of worship, Muslim places of worship, they are all privately managed. But Hindu temples have been taken over by the government, and they will never give you permission to hold kirtans in the temple. Now, they have closed the doors of the temples for devotees for holding kirtan programs. And if they want to hold it in the house, for that also they have put a ban, practically a ban. Who will go all the way to the collector to get a permission for a simple kirtan program in a house, and which collector will give such a permission? To meet the collector with such a request, how long it will take? So, see, the whole problem is, in spiritual matters, our courts are actually not competent, but they don't admit that. They say Constitution is above everything, but how can the Constitution be above spirituality? Constitution should be subservient to the spiritual emancipation of the population is the highest goal. Constitution is meant for economic welfare, but it cannot take care of spiritual welfare. Spiritual welfare is a bigger goal than economic welfare. So unfortunately, this is the result of so many years of westernized education that we cannot even understand the value of spiritual knowledge and the value of distributing this Harinam to the people. So that is one thing. But anyway, so Prabhupada answered like this. Then Prabhupada went to the World Health Organization. You know, Geneva, there is a headquarters of many United Nations bodies, correct? And one of them is WHO. Prabhupada addressed them, and Prabhupada met some very important people. One is an Indologist, and he also met many scientists and professors. Prabhupada never would run away from scientists and professors. Rather, they would run away from him because they cannot answer his very simple questions. If you ask complicated questions, they will give complicated answers. But when you ask a simple question, you cannot escape those questions. Prabhupada corner them like that. Anyway, so next thing is one of Prabhupada's leading disciples by name Karandara. With this episode, we will close the session because we lost some 10 minutes in the beginning. So, leading disciples by name Karandara, you would have heard this in some of the earlier sessions. This Karandara, he came to meet Prabhupada in Geneva. He had actually left ISKCON few months ago because he was breaking the regulative principle. He could not maintain the regulative principle. So he thought, better I leave the movement because I cannot be breaking the principles and say I am in ISKCON. So he left. But until that time, he had been a very important manager of ISKCON affairs in the United States. And Prabhupada was depending heavily on him for his printing work in Japan, to coordinate book distribution, collecting funds for the temples. He was doing so many things. And he suddenly left. So, but then after leaving ISKCON, Karandara felt great remorse that I have failed my spiritual master. I did wrong. I should not have broken the principles. I should not have left ISKCON. So he immediately sent a telegram to Prabhupada saying, I want to come and surrender to you at your lotus feet once again. Prabhupada welcomed him and he flew to Geneva to surrender to Prabhupada. He spent a few hours with Karandara and Prabhupada decided, I will send him to India, make him the GBC for India. Okay. And he will stay in Bombay and will help the devotees in Bombay to get the no objection certificate. Does anyone remember this business of no objection certificate? Please quickly unmute yourselves and speak.
It's Mr. R's. No, no, Prabhuji, there in Bombay, no, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
That to build the temple, it was on hold, no, Prabhuji, for stay, no, Prabhuji. That no objections that we regarding that matter, Prabhuji.
Exactly. The municipal commissioner says you get a NOC from police commissioner. Police commissioner says you take a NOC from municipal commissioner. There was a deadlock like this. Then after some time, the police commissioner simply wrote that Kirtan will be a nuisance and I will not give a NOC. The matter was stuck like that. So Prabhupada made Karandara, an American devotee, to tackle this problem. He said, you will get the NOC. And it was a very bold move by Srila Prabhupada because he was not even in the movement till yesterday. For 4 months, he had simply left. But still, Prabhupada trusted him to manage the leadership in India. Immediately, letters were sent to all the temples, Hyderabad, Bombay, Calcutta, Mayapur, Delhi, Vrindavan, authorizing Karandara as the new governing body commissioner for India. And Prabhupada said, it's a great relief for me. Please give him all cooperation and work together for advancement of our mission to make the people of India Krishna conscious. So Prabhupada is very, very keen on establishing the movement on a strong hold in India. And that struggle is going on. Even though Prabhupada may be traveling all over the world, he has a very big focus on India because, can anyone say why Prabhupada is very much focused on India? Even though he established ISKCON outside India in USA, but his vision is very much on India. Would you like to speak on that, devotees?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, because it is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared here. He when earlier they said that Mayapur is remote, he mentioned, oh Prabhuji, this is the center, other places are remote. So he wants India.
Correct, very right. Other devotees like to say something? Why Prabhupada is so obsessed with India? Even though Prabhupada was never successful in India, and that's why he had to go to America, right? But his focus is still on India. Why?